Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to be back with you. It's time for the Jesse T Show right here, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 every day of the week. We are here for you on the air and everywhere. The Brown Beauty is back on duty from the community to the world. We've got a great show lined up for you. What a nice day in Southern California, not too hot. The weather's a-changing. It's a change in here in California. And, you know, we are living in paradise, except there's just too many people. Yes, and our favorite mayor, Big Baggy Pants, is on his way to the East Coast and leaves us with traffic galore. I just don't understand politics too much. So we're not going to talk about politics today. We've got entertainment fun today. That's right. And I am so pleased to introduce my guest to the right of me, or maybe to the left of me, but he's that way. He's over that way. He's that way. James Jurdy.
How you doing?
Yes,
I'm just happy to be here.
I should say, like, in this corner, standing 6'1", 175 pounds.
And it's amazing that you got my height and my weight perfectly right.
Training out of Los Angeles, California, in the Roger Neal Gym of Paradise and Ecstasy, it's James Danger One Jurdy.
I don't think I've ever gotten a better introduction in my life.
Pretty good, huh? Not bad. And I winged that off the top of my head.
Oh, that is as good as it gets, my
Imagine
friend.
what I can do when I'm standing up.
My goodness. I'm impressed.
Because most people say I'm sitting on my head most of the time.
I would disagree with that.
Yes. Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. Of course, we are live on Instagram Live. It's good to have you here at Jesse Terrero, and Twitter and LinkedIn. And we've got a couple other Facebook sites. ThePowerOfVoices.com, straight to the point on Facebook. And oh, yeah, we're really starting to build now and getting out there on YouTube. We want to build that YouTube and subscriber site. It is free, and we're going to be giving a lot of freebies away because it's free, and hey, what better than having free? Well, I need $25, so if anybody wants to give me $25, I'm on a quest. I'm like Monty Python. I'm on a quest.
You got it. At the end of this interview, $25. We're good.
Look at,
We're done.
I tell you, if you ask enough people, it's like selling cherries on the side of the freeway.
That's
And
it.
I've done that too.
Just introduce me one more time the way you did before you got the $25. That's it.
In this corner.
That's it.
Wearing red trunks and brown shirt. Training for exactly 6 months, 2 days, 4 hours, and 13 seconds. It's world champion James Danger One Jurdy.
You got it. You got it.
Good?
No, that's it.
A little
Sealed
bit
the deal.
different, right?
No, sealed the deal.
I'm good for a Tuesday and a Monday night.
That's
Yes.
it.
Okay. Yes, I love it. Good to have you in here, James.
Good to be
James
here.
Jurdy,
Thanks for having
everybody.
me.
Yeah, all right,
Thanks
brother.
for having
Thank
me,
you,
man.
Hey, you know, your name is French, and we
Sure.
got to talking here just before we went on the air, folks. And he said, "You speak French?" I said, "No, the only kind of French I speak is one that gives me in trouble, like French croissants and French kissing. That's about the only kind of French I know, and French fries and French toast. Oh, yes.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
French toast. That's right. But he speaks real French.
Sure.
Yes. And
Parle
you just
français.
used. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
And
petit peu.
you are from France originally? Or?
No, but it just so happens that I speak a little French. I actually went to a French school, so I studied some French over here in LA, so I got to pick up on all the basics.
Wow, that's very cool, man. It's a
yeah.
very cool thing to know more than one language, isn't it?
Yeah, so do you, right? You speak Spanish?
I speak anything I can get myself into.
Well, that's good. I mean, if you can do that announcement in any language all over the world,
Yeah.
I think we're set.
Well, look I'm like Sid Caesar. You know, Sid Caesar was a man of 1,000 different dialects and accents, but he never could speak the language he was faking. If you go back and you watch Google or any YouTube sites, chime up Sid Caesar in his heyday in the 1950s, right?
Okay.
And he'll be talking in English, and then all of a sudden he'll break down in Russian, and then he'll go to French, and then he'll go to Spanish, and then he'll go to Portuguese, then he'll go to Italian, then he'll go back to English from New York, then English from the South, and he doesn't say anything that makes any sense, but it's so right on. The timing, the
Perfect.
pacing, the dialect, the accent,
The
right?
universal language, right?
But he's saying nothing but gibberish. That's the joke.
No, that's
total
the talent.
gibberish.
That's the talent.
the talent,
Right?
right?
That's the talent.
Absolutely.
Say something when you're not saying it.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling Mama T every night. I keep saying it, darling. She says, "You're not saying it."
Right.
Thank you. Yes, that's the advantage. All right. So we're having fun here, but James is in here for a reason. And the reason is because he's got a brand new movie, and it's a big release. And we're going to play a trailer from this movie in just a few minutes when Lee tells me it's ready to go, Lee Baby Michaels. And we're going to get that going here. And the name of the movie is called Danger One. And it's really cool because it's the premise and the storyline. I love. Tell me about the storyline and the premise, because everybody in that situation has got to be thinking that.
Yeah, no, this is one of those movies where everybody's gonna leave asking whoever they saw it with, what would you do if you were in that scenario? What would you do if you were in that situation? It's about a bunch of paramedics who go to a 911 call, find $1 million on a dead body. They decide to keep it, and everything goes wrong from there. Just craziness and mayhem over the course of one night in L.A.
That is so cool. You ready to go on that? Hey, hit it. It's called Danger One.
Homeboy somehow jammed $1 million in here.
Hey, we're almost there. Just let the hospital deal with it.
Let's just imagine, for a moment. Let's say we don't turn it in, and we just keep it.
I'm not hearing this. I'm not hearing this.
You're not here, City.
1 minute. You report that stuff the moment you walk through the door.
I absolutely love that. I love the eyes of all you guys, the double takes,
Right.
the thoughts that I can see your brain going.
Yeah,
and how many people would, if they were in that position, I mean, the body's dead,
Mm-hmm.
and no one even knows the guy has, right?
I think this is going to be one of those movies that people remember if they ever find money, they're like, no, don't take the money, because remember what happened to those characters in that movie.
Oh, so there's
I
a
think-
big twist
right,
at the
I
I
think this movie shows you what happens if you actually take the money and you justify the unjustifiable. Just things go haywire real fast. So I think that's where the movie's real pull is that it really gets you into that real life situation.
It's really cool how, and I guess this is in the beginning. This trailer
This
comes
is
right from the
right
beginning.
in the first act of the film.
So it's set up, ready to go.
Oh yeah, no, it's a thrill ride. I mean,
Yeah.
when we were making the movie, we were hoping that one day it would turn into a theme park ride, because it's one of those things where you get on the ambulance and you don't get off until the movie's over. It's just a lot of fun.
I love the beard, the scruffy beard look, man.
Thanks,
you're right
man.
there.
Thanks.
Looking pretty
I'm
good.
trying. Try to keep up with you.
And I don't know about that. I look scruffy all the time. And, in fact, I used to be called Scruffy. What can I tell you? But the one shot there where the one paramedic who kind of comes up with the idea, and then you shoot the money in that scene,
Right.
and then his left eye shuts
Right.
and his right eye stays open. I think that's so classic, right? That's so cool.
Yeah.
It adds a little bit to it. And acting is a lot like that. It's the little things,
It's
isn't
the
it?
details. It's the nuances. I mean, the little tiny details in between the scenes and in between the big moments that really draw people in. And the stuff that you picked up on, you can't really rehearse and you can't really plan for. It just kind of happens in the moment. So much of this film happened just in the moment, just because it was shot in a very condensed period of time. It's all set in one night, so the tension is just always spiking.
Yeah, those films that are set in one 24-hour period
Right.
are really cool because
Yeah.
it's got to get done, and it's usually a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, no, this is one of those Los Angeles thrill ride films that just does not quit.
But they're waiting for you to make the decision in that
right.
trailer.
I'm the
You're
moral
like the
compass,
dude,
right? I'm
yeah.
the voice of honesty and reason and the whole thing. And
Well, if you don't want to be honest and it ever happens in real life, I'll give you my address.
Sure,
You can-
absolutely. Make sure I
I'll
get it
take it.
before
I'll
I
take
go.
it. I'll take that pressure
I
off
got
you.
it. No
problem.
I'll let you deal with the mob and the dirty cops.
Yes,
and everybody.
I'll deal with all that. Oh, dirty cop in there
Oh,
too.
got everything.
Oh man,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's a cool
So
movie.
who wrote this?
It was written by a gentleman named Stefan Schlachtenhausen. It was,
I love the guy's name, a Schlockenhausen burger.
Yeah, he's
Hey,
got
hey, can I have a Schlockenhausen with some mustard and some relish on there?
yeah, I mean,
Right?
he wrote a great script, though.
Yeah.
And we were all really pulled in.
But he
and,
was really Schlockenhausen it up, huh?
Yeah, we really... we got pulled into the script.
Yeah.
You know, he put together.
Well, come
a
on.
good
Anybody
scenario.
whose name is Schlockenhausen and you read his script has got to pull you in.
Yeah, no. I mean,
Very
I
cool,
I
man.
hope he doesn't watch this.
Yeah, no, I love the guy's name.
Yeah.
I couldn't spell it.
Oh yeah, no, it's very cool. He did a great job.
Yeah, so he wrote this.
He wrote this. Yeah, it just came together, and then we just all decided to hop on board. And
So when you saw it, was you like, yeah, I got it.
It had all the elements of movies that I loved growing up. You know what I mean? It reminded me a little bit of Training Day because it was just set
yeah.
over the
One of
course
the
of
greatest
24
movies,
hours, and
right.
it had elements where good people trying to do good but also doing bad,
Right.
and it had a lot of the stylistic techniques that I always like seeing in movies. I knew it had great potential.
Right, absolutely. And so it came together pretty good then, real quick.
I mean we've been working on it for a while, and now it's getting
How
a
long
great
have you been
release.
working on this?
It's been over a year.
Yeah, people don't realize
people-
how long it takes to
people don't
get
realize
something
it
going.
takes like 18 months to flip over, something like this if it ever comes together. So it takes a while. But now it's coming out on September 14th. We got Entertainment Studios and Freestyle releasing, distributing.
Oh,
it
that's
nationwide.
Byron Allen's
Right.
outfit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, first- yeah.
Yeah, no, they loved it. They're
Yeah, they do a
releasing it.
lot of good product.
Really good
When you
stuff.
bring them a good production, they like it, man, they get it out.
Oh yeah,
That's what they're really good
They
at.
did a terrific job, and they're releasing it nationwide in select theaters and across VOD platforms next Friday on the 14th. So we're just all really pumped.
Man, how cool is that?
Yeah.
And
we're really
seriously,
pumped. Yeah, no,
you got to
I
be
mean, we're
laying back
excited.
going like, this is like cool, man.
We're excited.
I mean, this has happened to you before, but you had a big part of producing this. You had other parts of this film. You
Sure.
just weren't the actor.
No,
You were
yeah,
doing
it-
other things in this film.
we had just come off some other films that we had made, and when this came together, as I said before, we identified the potential in it, and my team and I really came on board to try to push it as hard as we could, and a lot of moving parts in play, but we pulled it together, and we're really proud of the product.
Yeah, the transition in Hollywood is changing now. The older actors, the older vanguard is moving on, as it always does every 20 to 30 years. The young guys that are now getting older, and they're moving on, and you got a whole set of young, very talented people like yourself. I mean, that are starting to understand and take over the business and the creative aspect of it, but combining a lot of the new technologies and a lot of the new ideas in filmmaking.
Yeah. Speaking of new technologies, I mean, we had a lot of drone footage in this film.
Yeah.
That stuff is just so cool.
How can
because-
they used to have to get that
Oh, yeah,
giant
'cause
helicopter out
'cause-
there,
right,
You know?
the helicopter shots, renting it,
right.
and
With the big-
risking the
with the big
cameraman's
huge
life,
light,
all that
and the
stuff.
crane light
yeah,
and
no, a
everything.
lot of
Yeah.
like the overhead landscape shots
Yeah.
and cityscape shots were all done by a drone.
That's
So I mean,
wild,
we
man.
were able to employ a lot
That
of
is so
new techniques
wild.
in this. So it was definitely a challenge, because one thing about the film is that it looks so much bigger than what we made it for.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know one person who's seen it who could identify the budget of what we actually made it for.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't it cost you $100 million to make it?
That's
That's
exactly
right.
what it
you always
cost,
want
right?
to go a little bit higher.
A little bit higher,
Okay,
but that's
it cost
about
you
it.
$83 million.
Right,
honestly,
right. There you
folks.
go.
So we got to get him
Being
some more
modest,
money.
being
You're being modest.
Right.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about the technology. Like you said, it can make something look so much more huge
Right.
than before, when you actually had to go build a Titanic set,
right.
like he did down in Mexico, in Baja. You had to actually build the Titanic
Right.
in order to make it happen.
Right.
But you don't have to do that in that respect anymore.
No. I mean, there's a lot of available means to you, but it just takes time. Like we were talking about how things take time.
Right.
And it just takes time for you to really pull that off.
Yeah, and you also know when the guy who's flying your drone, if he's drunk or not.
Right.
He had too much
Right.
ganja, right?
You want to make sure the guy hasn't had anything to drink till afterwards.
That's right.
Right.
Yes. Otherwise, the drone shots are going to be like
Right.
roller coaster
Right,
rides.
right,
Absolutely.
exactly.
I think of weird things like this. I don't know
No,
why.
I mean you're not wrong, because one drunk on the set can change the whole dynamic of the film.
Isn't that true? Yes.
Yeah, and light comes falling.
Boy, I tell you, in
drones
Los
come
Angeles,
crashing.
we got 65,000 trucks on the street,
Right.
or something like that.
Right.
Yes, I'm sorry, I wasn't going to get into politics, but I did have to throw a little whiz banger out there. Yes, what can I tell you? Hey, but that's kind of cool. So in this film, you co-produced it, and you got to be part of it in a different way than just an actor, taking on a lot of that responsibility. I'm assuming that you've done that before in other projects, but how does that make your creative process bigger as a creative person, or does that kind of, because you have to have a head for so many things that your creative process gets diminished because you're so responsible for so many other things? How does that affect that?
I think two components comprise what you're gearing at. The first thing is, I think you got to have a really good team, which we were blessed with in this one,
right?
Because you got to be able to trust the individuals that you're working with to kind of assume the responsibilities that you would otherwise assume if you were doing the job. So you got to rest assured that they can do the job as well as you can, if not better. And secondly, in terms of the creative, it just gives you so much more perspective and so much more insight, because you're not only in touch with your character and your character's motivations and your character's objectives, but you're also in touch with how it connects and pertains to the greater picture at large, which is something that you don't always see unless you're kind of different vantage points. So that's kind of where I was at with it, where, the great team that was doing stuff that I
didn't have to
necessarily
be there every second,
always oversee when I was in the creative realm, and the creative realm just kind of having the vantage points of two perspectives, which really, I think, enriched my performance and my perspective on the whole thing.
It does change it a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of people said that, that when you are responsible for, looking through the camera, kind of seeing, does that shot work? Is the light right? Do I really want to have that feel? Is the sound okay? Or is it, when you get up there to actually do your portion of the acting aspect, it adds another dimension to your process in that respect.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of cool. But you've had a pretty good career up to this point. Now this film is released on September 14th. So that's next Friday. And where can we see it in Los Angeles?
Oh, we got a great venue. It's actually going to be playing over at the AMC Universal City Walk Theater.
Oh, man, that's part of USA theater over there.
Exactly.
Absolutely,
right.
man.
They just remodeled that not too long ago. It's just gorgeous over there. It looks like another planet now.
Yeah, I saw Frank Sinatra there at the Universal Amphitheater, where the theater is now. It used to be the Universal Amphitheater.
Is that so? Yeah.
Yes, I was a
theater.
I was a groupie. Please, Frank, let me touch you. Just let me touch you. Oh, security off stage, right?
That's cool.
He goes, "Hey, kid, how you doing?"
That's good.
I got a word or two with him,
How long ago was that?
Oh, a long time ago when the Dead Sea was alive.
Oh, I see. It must have been a while.
Yeah, the Salton Sea used to be fresh water.
Oh, is that it? Okay, I missed those days.
Yes, Moses was still talking to God.
Right.
And God wasn't coming from Chicago yet, like the Blues Brothers.
So we're talking a long time ago.
A mission from God from Moses, right?
That's a whole different world then.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, it has changed. My God.
Well, the movie's going to be playing at Universal City. We're going to be more psyched, as well as other theaters all over the country.
Is it got a limited run at Universal, or is it going to be there for a little while?
I think it's going to be a limited run, and then it's also going to be playing on all VOD platforms in tandem.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah, so people can get it on iTunes.
You don't even
and
have to be in
and
theaters
stuff like
now.
That. No, you don't. I mean, we love the big screen experience, which is why we wanted to make it available to people who wanted to see it on the big screen. But so much is all digital now, and all VOD, and all easy access from home. So it gives people the opportunity to see it on both fronts.
That's one of the things about it, is that because of the new technology of the VOD platform, I mean, cats can see it at the park on their smartphones.
Oh, yeah.
They can see it in between lunch break at work.
You can see it any way you want. You can see it on a little screen like this, or you can see it projected wherever.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the interactive process, too, there's more interaction in it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some films coming up here in the next couple of years where it's actually going to be almost in real time interaction between the viewer and the actors actually doing something in some sort of real time
Yeah,
venue,
I think
because
so. I think
things are coming
they're
that
coming up
they're
with
coming to
technology
that.
where you can kind of choose your own path
Yeah,
for the film.
Right. The film or a direction might have 3 or 4 endings, and,
Right.
and the audience
Just going
kind
to
of
inflate the budgets a little more.
Yeah.
So we were 200, 300 million instead of
That's
100
right. Hey,
million.
no problem. I just want 1% of it.
There
Thank
you
you very
go.
much. That's all I
That's
need.
a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go buy a house to live in.
There you go. I hope you have one now.
I do.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Yes, I better. Otherwise, I get in trouble. you know.
Right.
After you've been married for 29 years and known someone for 43, you
Yeah,
better
no,
have a house.
You better.
And to have a happy life, you have
Right.
to have a happy wife.
Absolutely.
I learned that a long time ago.
Valuable life lessons.
Yes, living in my VW Bug on those Friday nights,
Uh-oh.
cold. It
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
cool.
That was not good. You want to make sure you got yourself a nice couch.
At least I had the dog Jacob with me.
Oh, there you go. That gives you
I get a
some
little more solace.
gives you some solace, some tranquility, right? Yeah.
Gee, thanks. Man, my life sucks.
It's okay. It's all right.
Absolutely. So now, look at before this, you did a film with one of my buddies, Danny Trejo,
Oh
and
yeah,
Reaper.
I love Trejo.
Isn't he
Yes.
the greatest,
Oh
man?
God, he is so cool. You know what's funny is I was at the airport the other day and I actually ate at Trejo's Tacos.
Oh, you for the first time?
Oh yeah,
They're good
I'd been
tacos.
I'd been to the one
The
on
one
La
on-
Brea just
yeah.
to support him. In fact, I'll show you this photo
Oh,
right here.
show me the
Oh, yeah.
photo.
Yeah, yeah.
Get it out now.
Oh,
Show
yeah.
it to
no,
me,
No, I was
baby.
with my buddy.
That's
and
right.
I told her take a photo.
You got to
of,
take a
my
photo of
old-
Trejo's
of my-
Tacos.
There we go. See?
There it is.
Yeah.
Orale, pues,
Yeah,
ese.
right there.
Yes,
Yeah.
vato.
I'll zoom in. That's
yeah,
it.
there you go. Danny
Yeah.
Trejo.
Yeah, no, Trejo is awesome. He was, someone that I'll always hold in such high respect just
Yeah.
because he came onto that project early on. It was one of our first projects, and because of him, we got some other really great cast members like Vinnie Jones and Jake Busey.
Yeah.
And we
Jake
just,
Busey, the son
Right.
of
Gary.
Gary. I met Jake a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he's really good.
really good.
Not as crazy as his dad.
Yeah.
His dad is like, we love Gary
oh,
Busey,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But Jake is like a little more grounded, but he's so
But he's
irreverent.
got similar kind of energy
Yeah, he
as well,
does.
similar
Yeah.
kind of presence,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they really brought that movie to life. That was
Yeah.
actually the first script that I had written that got produced on a feature film
How'd you
level.
come up with that idea, Reaper? Man,
Yeah.
you see that all the time.
Yeah, no, I was
On
I was a
TV.
fan of different genre films growing
Right.
up, and I always thought that kind of grindhouse,
Yeah.
drive-in movie theater
Yeah.
type genre film
Right.
was really appealing. Just because you go in with certain expectations, and the film has to meet those expectations. And we wanted to make that kind of movie,
Right.
and it was our first venture into that world, and we had a great cast, great crew, and. It's a movie that people still come up to me and talk about it right now, like years later, telling how much they enjoyed it.
It's almost like a cult film in a lot of ways.
I think so. It's a film that's really developed a little bit of a following. I'm hoping that one day it'll be showing at like Midnight Theater or something like that.
Like Rocky Horror Picture
Right,
Show,
right,
or
that
like
kind of thing.
or like The Room.
Right?
The Room
Well,
with
right.
the Wusa.
Right,
yeah,
right,
Crazy
right.
Wusa.
Yeah,
I interviewed him, man. Interviewing him I caught him off guard with a few questions, and he just glared at me.
Yeah. I saw that movie that was based on the disaster. That was good.
I thought that was a great disaster. Unfortunately, I thought it was a great movie, and I thought he should have won the Academy Award, but there were some other negative energy aspects that were happening at that moment in time for him. Unfortunately, because he did it absolutely. He got the voice down.
Yeah, no,
he got the mannerisms
I read
down.
the book. I saw the original film. I saw the film that was based on the book. I thought it all played well.
Yeah, it was real well. So maybe Reaper. Well, Reaper. If you stay up late enough and you're cruising around the channels and stuff, you always see it.
I can't tell you. It's always on Showtime.
Yeah,
like it's one of Showtime's
It's
late night go-to movies. It's like if you're on at like 12 or 11,
hey, honey,
it's always there.
Hey, honey, let's get a romance going here. Get the popcorn and the beer, and then let's sit down and watch Reaper.
Perfect. Well, she gets scared enough, make a move. It's all good.
Absolutely, man, So you came out, you did a lot of short films, and these aren't films for short people.
Right.
Yes, that's right. It's not little people films or
Right.
midgets. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I just got myself in trouble again, but that's okay. I used to love watching the midgets and clowns at the Barnum and Bailey Circus. I used to love that, and wrestling. Little people wrestling.
Right.
I used to love that when I was growing up. Little people roller derby.
Yeah, that wasn't so popular in my time.
No,
for some
I
reason.
told you. I'm older than you
things
think.
have changed. in my day.
Are they really? Oh, Lord. Thanks.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I got on that topic. Maybe it's my ADD catching up with me. Yeah, I don't know. But nevertheless, you did a lot of short films, and those are 20-minute films, 30-minute films, and you even went to Cannes with one of them.
I did, yeah. That was
Now,
kind of the early.
what's that about? I've been to Cannes. I've been doing lots of cons lately. No, seriously, but I've been to Cannes one time. I happened to be there for a music festival, and it was going on at the same time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, a music thing we were doing in France, and that was cool. But what's that like from the perspective?
It was so cool because I mean that was one of the first times that we were actually feeling like we were getting acknowledged by the industry because we've been making all these films in university, and then one of them just hit and got accepted into the short film corner over there. We went over there, and I'll never forget the feeling. It was almost bittersweet. It was like tragicomic because we had made it all this way, and we thought we were so victorious, and we thought that we were the only ones who were going to be there, one of the final, one of the final kind of contenders. But we walked in, and they were like thousands and thousands and thousands of people over there, all vying for the same kind of attention, the same kind of pull that our film was vying for, and it really just gave me such great insight and perspective into what the business is all about,
especially on the international scene. There,
how many
so
people
many
are
flavors.
trying to do it? Because we're talking about like how movie making has changed and how times have changed. I mean, the whole industry's changed so much now in the sense that everybody's making movies on such different platforms. Some of them are making a little bit more old-fashioned. Some are making on their iPhones and on, various.
Well, the cameras on these things are so fantastic.
On whatever kind of way that they can get them. Right. And some of them are good. I mean, everybody's got a different approach to storytelling. Everybody was there trying to vie for the same competition and the same level of attention that we were there for. So we understood from that point on that we really had to, step it up a little bit and put the pedal to the metal in order to kind of just,
so you
maintain.
You were working it, baby.
We were trying.
Yeah,
we were
not
trying.
just playing. You were working.
No, it was. I mean, that was where we kind of springboarded to Reaper. That was the next movie after that short film that was in Cannes. So we've been pushing ever since. It's been a journey.
Yeah. And one of the things that I mentioned, when you go there, unlike like the Academy Awards, and you go to the Tonys, and AFM and all that stuff here in the States, which is there's so many things to go and produce and promote and market and distribute and stuff like that. But when you get over there to Europe and you go to Cannes, I mean, you really get a taste of what the world is looking for in the entertainment value.
Right. And
it really sets in, doesn't it?
You really begin to understand just how global the business has become and just how much everybody is trying to get into it. And
it breaks the mold, mold that we have living in America.
And it changes your perspective and the definition of what a film is and what a film isn't, what a filmmaker is, what a filmmaker is, and it just allows you to understand things on a much more universal level.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of red carpets and a lot of paparazzi.
Yeah, a lot of action.
A lot of champagne.
Right? Lots of champagnes and everything.
So you had that experience too, and which is kind of cool. And all of this, started out at UCLA.
Yeah, right here at UCLA. I just had a great time over there. That's where I wrote a lot of my scripts and made a lot of my short films, and I made a lot of my friends some of which still work with me till this day. Yeah. So, I mean, that was the cool part about it, which is that you got to build a network, you got to build a team, and each person got to grow in their own way, but you also got to grow together. So that was part of what really stuck with me.
Yeah, you did the TV stuff early on.
Yeah. I mean, we were just trying to... I guess get into the unions at that point.
Yeah, Norm Pattis and whatchamacallit over at General Hospital.
Yeah, General Hospital, Bold and
Marvin
Beautiful,
Page,
all that stuff. The bit parts and the small roles, and just trying to build the resume and get as much little exposure as possible.
You mean this didn't just happen last Tuesday?
I wish it did. God,
Wait a second.
If we could rewind 10 years ago and I was straight out of UCLA to here, it would have been cool, man.
Come on. 10 years?
Yeah.
No, 10 years. This is supposed to happen overnight. You're supposed to be drinking an ice cream float or something, or someone's supposed to tap you on the shoulder and say, "You are my next star."
Right. I mean, that's what some people think, but I mean, it's not. It doesn't work out. At least it did in my experience, where you're just a lot of building, a lot of attempts,
Right. And you got to stay at it. In anything that you do.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure it just takes time. Everything is a building process.
I'm still building.
Yeah.
I don't know what. But I'm still
Oh,
building.
you're building a great show over here.
Well, you got hooked up with Roger.
Yeah, Roger's a great guy.
One of the best PR guys in the business.
He's the
Roger
best,
Neal.
yeah.
Been around forever, knows everybody, knows everything,
Yeah,
and
no-
his wife.
Yeah,
and
no,
Lynn,
was very fortunate to meet him through a mutual friend. We've had a great time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that relationship, you need to have a team like Roger and Lynn, and you need to have these people that have kind of cut the trail already, and they know where to go with stuff, and
You
they
really
know how
do.
to package, so you don't have to redevelop it.
Sure, you do, because I mean, no matter how much you do, you can make a great film, or you could, produce a terrific product. But at the end of the day, selling that product and making people aware of it is a whole other ball game. So
Yeah.
that's where guys like Roger and Lynn and everybody come into real handy.
Yeah, that's really where the the rubber meets the road, because
Right.
you
Yeah,
got to
that's a
make
whole
some
other-
money. At
that's
this,
a whole
right?
other industry.
That's the idea.
Right. That's
You
a
do
whole
wanna
separate
make-
business,
right.
yeah.
You want to make some bucks somewhere.
Sure.
I mean, you do this anyway for free the rest of your life because
Right.
you got the bug.
Right.
And that's terrible that you got bit by the bug early on, because I
is.
got bit by the bug, and you just
Yeah.
can't get the bug out of you.
No. Once you get bit, you never
It's
go
just
back.
a horrible thing.
Yeah. You never go back.
It really, you don't.
No.
And my daughter, who's 28, she's a professional athlete and a goalkeeper.
You were telling me.
In NWSL,
Competing all over the world.
Chicago Red Stars, and my son was a professional athlete at 23. I kept them clear away from the entertainment industry their whole lives, didn't want them to participate at all. I didn't want them to get bit by the bug. Now, as an adult, my daughter, she's one of the things, because she's a professional athlete, she does a lot of Nike and Reebok and these athletic modeling and commercials, because
Right.
she's a professional athlete. and
Right.
she has an agency that sends her out, and she gets endorsements and stuff like that. But that's later on in her life she got it. I didn't
Right.
want my children to get bit by the bug early on.
Yeah, no, my
I
parents-
kept them from that.
My parents were the same way. They always wanted me to be, get an education first,
Right.
and to understand it from a different standpoint, and also to understand that it was a business.
It is.
Yeah.
You lose track of that.
Exactly. Like,
Right.
they really wanted me to understand that, if you're going to do this, you have to do it in a way where it makes sense on all levels.
Yeah, you really have to. Otherwise, you starve.
No, it's not. yeah. I mean, I know it's not
You
easy.
and I will be out there. You'll sell oranges on one side.
Right.
I'll be selling
I'll-
grapefruit on
right,
the other.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
Got to
but
get a
we just-
banana guy in the middle, and then we got a business.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
A banana guy in the middle always works.
I think so.
Yes, no, yes, thank you. Absolutely. So what else you got coming up now? You got this big film that's releasing, but you're consistently working.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you've got other things happening.
Got a couple of scripts that I've been working on my end for a while, and now
Right.
with all the experience that I've accrued making these other films, I kind of figure out that not only do I know how to play them, but I know how to package them as well. So we actually got one that's in the pipeline that hopefully we'll start working on as soon as this one's released, not only here but worldwide as well. Now the focus is to really just get this one out.
This is
all
where
over
it's
the
at.
world. Right.
Is there a web page for this film?
Yeah,
Is
no,
there
it's
something?
on Facebook, Danger One on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. So
Right.
information flowing on from all directions.
You use your regular name, because some of these names that people come up with Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram, I can't figure them out.
Oh, me neither.
I'm always completely blowing the names, and just I can't figure them
Yeah,
out.
me neither. But I just kept it as easy to follow as possible. It's James Yurdy at Instagram and Facebook, and then Danger One all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find it everywhere.
Now I'd like to play that Lee. I'd like to play that that trailer again here in just a minute.
Sure.
So when you wrapped on this movie, Danger One, was it the kind of wrap where you went, "Oh, whoa, I'm glad that's done. Now we got the big," or was it kind of a sad?
It was
the part?
both, because I got, you develop friendships with
Right.
these guys, and I was always such in awe of the way that Tom and Dennis O'Hare worked in the
Right.
film, and they were, great guys to learn from, and so patient and so dedicated to the parts. But it was a really tough shoot. I mean, we were shooting nights because the film is all set in one night. We were shooting, in cold areas, in areas like Griffith Park and South Central. We were fighting time. We were fighting
Right.
weather. We were fighting, circumstance. We were fighting budget. It was a battle. I mean, it's a battle to get anything.
I mean,
produced,
just to
a
set
battle
the
get anything
permits to
made.
get in Griffith
Right,
Park
exactly, because a lot
and
of
areas.
it was
Yeah.
outdoor. I mean,
Right.
a lot of chase scenes, shootouts. So it wasn't one of those films that you could shoot in a room.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had to be out in the world putting it together. and it was challenging.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess the feeling that you most feel when you wrap something like this, oh, thank God that we got it in the can. Thank
Right.
God that we got everything that
Right.
we wanted to get on the film. You know
Right.
what I mean? But naturally, you do feel an affinity for everybody you work with, and you try to stay in touch and hope that you get the chance to collaborate again.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about some of the music in the film when we
Sure.
come back. So set this trailer up. We saw it in the beginning of the show, but I want to play it again. Danger One. So set it up again.
This is right where the paramedics, who are played by Tom Everett Scott and myself, stumble upon the $1 million on the dead body after they get the 911 call, and they start deliberating about whether or not they should potentially keep it.
Okay. Danger One.
Homeboy somehow jammed $1 million in here.
Hey, we're almost there. Just let the hospital deal with it.
Let's just imagine for a moment. Let's say we don't turn it in, and we just keep it.
I'm not hearing this. I'm not hearing this.
You're not here, custody team.
1 minute. You report that stuff the moment you walk through the door.
That is kind of the thing about Danger One is man, I would just take the money and run. That's it. It'd be a simple equation. I'd get in touch with my guy Lee, and we'd go to Vegas, and we'd double that money up.
If it was
Oh,
that,
come
if
on.
It was that easy, we wouldn't have a movie.
Well, at least I buy some gold and silver, and then buy some California lottery tickets when it's $150 million.
Time starts going real slow, and people start coming after.
Yes,
you.
that's right.
That's what it's all about.
So this is like a chase. You got chases in here, and you
I mean,
got a little
it's
comedy in here
perfect
too.
Blend of kind of dark comedy meets just action.
I love dark
thriller.
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't want it to be just total serious drama and tone, even though it has the
Right.
dramatic elements and it has the morality play to it.
Right.
We wanted it to almost be kind of darkly, absurdly, unintentionally humorous in the fact that these guys have gotten themselves into such a conundrum.
Yeah, I love that word. They do, and how are they going to get out of it?
Exactly.
Regular good guys,
Right,
just doing their job.
Paramedics. I mean,
Yeah.
What do you think of when you need
Right.
help? Who do you call?
911,
Things go
baby.
wrong,
That's right.
And if these are the guys that are engaging in these
Yes.
kind of affairs, what do you expect of the rest of us?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, that
Or
was the pull of the film.
that's another reason why you want to have a good relationship with your significant other or your wife, because when you have an emergency and you call her, you want her to take care of you.
Right, absolutely.
You know, you don't want her thinking these evil thoughts on a clean wall.
No,
You know?
wanna make sure that
Yeah,
she's
she's
there
there to help you, right?
Right.
Absolutely, man. I mean, oh my goodness. So when you got this and you start putting it together and adding all the sound effects and the music and stuff, did you have somebody in mind that was going to do the choreography of the film or the music, or did that just come together later on?
You know, I mean, the team was kind of in place, and it was just people who knew people,
Mm-hmm.
and so much talent was involved in this film, and some of them were on board from the get-go. Some of them came on board later down the line, but everybody's work complemented the other, so it all kind of just worked out organically.
Right. Yeah, that's nice when it works out like that.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was good. Just kind of like friends all working together, trying to create the best possible project.
so you got something that we were talking while we were watching the video that I've got an interview coming up with Burt Reynolds,
I love Burt.
the icon, one of the icons, Burt
is one of
Reynolds,
the
man.
original movie stars. I mean, he was in
Yeah.
a film that I saw not too long called The Last Movie Star.
Yeah.
And that is a great title for him. I mean, I was fortunate and blessed to be in a film with him that I wrote called Pocket Listing.
Yeah.
That was with
Well,
him
tell me about that.
and Rob Lowe.
Oh, Rob Lowe's
Yeah,
cool too,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
See,
Jessica
he's like that older Vanguard that used to be younger,
Right,
my age
right.
now, because I'm in my 50s, right?
Right.
I'm 58. So as we're getting older, guys like you are now coming up, right?
But wind up like guys like you.
I don't know about that, you know. You don't want to wind up like me. You know, I got a Bortle outside, so you know he's eating some hay right now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, but that was a fun project. I mean, it was so good to work with Burt and Rob I mean, it was a film that I wrote and that I always had a very close connection to, and to see it come together with such tremendous talent was really a gift.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a chat with him.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna be Skyping with him later on here, coming up in a couple of months. We're booking that out right now, or when he's in town.
Yeah, he's just one of a kind. I mean, work with him,
A couple of sentences from him can change your life, man.
Exactly. No, I mean, or your movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have him play a role in a film, and it just takes it to a whole other level.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's been able to reinvent himself in that respect. Do you feel kind of when you're doing a scene with him or you're working with him, you gotta feel in awe, but it's like you don't want to mess up either,
Like
you know.
The younger actors in the film and myself were all somewhat intimidated.
Yeah, I was gonna
He
say.
was going to be playing that part, but when he came in, he was just so lovely, so generous with his time, so kind, so warm, so pleasant. So many great little stories to share. So many.
Oh, how fun!
And
How fun!
I think he was telling us that he actually teaches acting now down in Florida.
Yeah, that's where he's at, right?
So I mean, that was kind of the attitude that he had toward a lot of the
Younger
younger
guys.
thespians in the film, where he was just trying to impart wisdom and we're very gently kind of guide us through the scene, and we learned so much from the time that we spent with him. I mean, it was just tremendously beneficial. I'll forever, remember working with him because he was someone that not only I grew up watching, but my dad grew up watching.
Everybody grew
I
up.
know people who came to this country because of the fact that they saw Smokey and the Bandit and Cannonball Run. And all
Come
that.
on, man!
He was there.
Those were great movies. Those were
So, I mean, it was just
with
like-
Jerry Reed and Jackie Gleason was in one of them, and I mean the list goes on. Oh yeah, the list goes on and Sally Fields, the Flying Nun, who I had a major crush on when I was a kid.
So many movies to look. I mean, my era was more like remembering him in the days of Boogie Nights.
Oh, Boogie Nights was a great flick. That was a reinvention in his career. That was a total comeback. He played that part so good. Boogie Nights was really good. That was all about John Holmes, basically a takeoff on John Holmes, the original X-rated porn star, right?
I was a teenager when I just came out, but I remember how much of an impact it had. And
Yeah.
now the older audience members that I was watching it with just had such a strong connection to him as just this legend.
Yeah, you're looking at a guy like that, and you think about yourself because you're young. What are you like, 22?
Something
Right.
like
Yeah, something like that, right? And 22 and 3 is 25. Okay, I just earned another $25. Okay, good.
Okay,
Thank you.
very cool.
Yes. But when you think about your, when you think,
You're really doing well.
man, I'm going to make some money today, baby. Friday's coming up, and I got a party. At least get a tank of gas and a couple burritos at King Taco. At Tito's or Danny Trejo's tacos.
There you go.
He's a little bit expensive, though. They're good, but they're expensive.
And healthy.
Now, they are healthy. And I wouldn't want to get him mad at me.
No, yeah, he's another sweet guy. Though.
Yeah, he is, really is. But, when you act with or you're a part of a few moments of a guy like Burt Reynolds, his career, and you start thinking about your career,
Sure.
and you start thinking about 60 years ahead.
Right.
Where am I going to be? How am I going to be? Am I going to be this guy? How is it? That's got to be a mind blower.
It is because it puts everything into perspective. You're working with a legend who's had such a long filmography and who's been part of the business for so long.
Yeah.
And you start thinking to yourself, you're so blessed and grateful to be here, having been a part of his filmography and having him be a part of your world as you're growing.
Yeah. It just says, I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it. Yeah. Burt Reynolds, right?
No, Burt is-
To think that he and Clint Eastwood were both fired on the same day
Right.
from Universal.
I heard
They were
this-
both fired on the same day, like one after the other.
I heard that story. I think they were talking to each other, and one of them told him, he didn't like your face, and he didn't think you could act, or something like
Yeah,
that.
Clint Eastwood had the veins popping out of his forehead,
Right.
and the twitching eye, and they said, nope. And then the Burt Reynolds was, yeah, you can't act. You're just, good old Southern boy. That's all you can do, right?
Right.
And look what happened to those two characters.
absolutely.
That kind of says something, doesn't
Well,
it?
no, absolutely. You got to believe in yourself, and that you got to overcome the naysayers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the key.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people can say a lot.
The whole
of things.
town is built on
Sure,
naysayers.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of people can tell you can't make it, but the persevere is what will set you apart.
Yeah, and they were just cast out on the street in the old Star system. I mean, they had that was it.
I remember Burt was telling us that he was contracted by MGM for a number of years
Yeah.
to do a couple of his films, and then ironically, this film that we made, Pocket Listing, wound up getting picked up by MGM. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
Well,
cool.
gee, I wonder how that happened. Yes. My grandfather did 51 years at Warner Brothers. He was hired by Jack Warner in 1938.
So you've got a long history in this.
I'm
business.
third generation brat, and I just happened to be on the radio and TV side of it all. Film and acting was cool, that was cool and stuff. And I've got stuff there too, but I loved music radio, and radio was my thing. Unfortunately, that's changed dramatically over the last 30 to 40 years, and TV too, and talk shows and stuff like that. But my grandfather used to tell me a lot of the stories on the Warner Brothers lot, because he was there for so long, and the people that would come and go that he would work with, mainly with the John Wayne. Well, he worked on everything because he was a truck
Did you ever
driver.
have a chance to meet those
I
guys?
met them all. I worked in the shootist with John Wayne.
So
I got a
you've
scene
got
with
a
John
wall
Wayne.
full of memorabilia.
Yeah, I do. And I wish I had more. When you're younger, and that's one of the things. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I wish that I would have saved so much more than what I saved in my career. And today you can do that. Save
I got it
everything,
all
brother.
saved on-
James, save everything. Napkins, every picture, every
all the set photos, all behind the scenes
set
stuff,
photos,
everything.
bumper stickers, microphones, clothing.
It does accumulate, worth in the long run.
Well, it's worth to you, because as you get older, you look back and you wish that you would have kept that picture with Burt Reynolds, right?
Right.
Where did it go?
Right. Yeah, no, we're fortunate in that.
Save it
all
all.
backed up on
Yeah.
USBs and iClouds and stuff like that. So we were good in that.
Yeah, just save it all, man. I mean, one of the things that Roger does, and that he works with, is, of course, all the Batman stuff, the original Batman stuff, and all at the Hollywood Museum. And in fact, he's got something coming up here this weekend. But the point is, all of that memorabilia from the Batman series, which was only on for a few short years, but all that memorabilia is so exciting for people to see, because they
It
relate.
shows you where that show started in relation to where it is now with the new movies and everything.
So just save everything that you can get your hands on. Debbie Reynolds, she was an avid collector, and when she's Kathy Fisher's mother. Cindy Fisher? Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher's.
They both recently.
They both died. She died right after her mother, Debbie. But Debbie had one of the largest memorabilia. She would go into when the studios would sell off their whole warehouses. She would go in and buy the whole warehouse of stuff that would span 30 years of memorabilia.
And I think Amazon and eBay are the places to go.
Yeah.
Because if you look enough stuff up, you'll find anything.
Right.
You might even find some of your stuff.
Oh, well, I found some of my stuff and I bought it. So nobody else could have it.
Right.
Because I wish I would have saved more. And as you do that and you go along in your career, you want to save all the clips, all the trailers.
Everything. I mean, all that stuff starts to have.
It really does. And also, if you have a family someday, it's cool for them to kind of see what Dad did. That's what Dad, he's not BSing me. That's what he really did.
Cool one day.
So what else is coming up here? We talked about some projects you're working on now, but how far out in the future do you plan projects? Do you start knowing that a couple of years down the road something might take place or might not take place? Because it still is always a 50-50 shot whether something's going to go.
It's a crapshoot. I mean, you really got to put the pieces together, like I was talking about, kind of on a business front.
Yeah.
To see who the cast involved is, who's going to be, distributing, who's going to be putting it together, who's going to be muscling it in, how long this
Right.
can take. But you always got to scratch out a good 18 months, and 18 months is actually kind of a very kind of conservative estimate
Right.
to turn these things around,
Right.
because it does take time.
Do you like the writing aspect more than the acting aspect?
No, I mean, to me, they complement each other, because the writing aspect is almost like a psychological analysis of the characters. So when I'm
So you're doing it right. You're
Right,
doing it. Oh,
exactly.
you're
Whenever-
cheating, man. You're telling a secret here.
Whenever I get a role that I'm not associated, like with this film, like I wasn't
Right.
associated with the writing of it
Right.
per se, but I had created like characters.
You gotta have a
biographies for
background.
the film,
Yeah.
backgrounds of the characters, where this guy was 15 years before.
Yeah.
The night
And
that
then
we
what
met
just
him.
happened last night?
Right.
What just happened to put him here right now?
Exactly. How did this
Yeah.
guy get to this point?
Yeah,
where
that's
he's
how I used to
figuring
do
out
it.
where to make
Yeah.
money?
What just happened?
When you're, creating a script, you're
Right.
doing that not only for your character but for every other character in the story. So for me, it informs the creative angle and the entire production so much more.
Yeah, it really does, and where you can really develop, and then you can help the other actors on the set understand who their character is and why it was written that way.
Talk to them about where this guy started out. This guy wasn't who
Right.
he was when we met him on the first scene of the film.
So you're about ready, man, to crack some big numbers here coming up, huh?
Knock on wood from your lips.
Hey, right on, man.
Movie God's ears.
Yeah, I just want 1%.
No, I forget that. We'll let you and Roger hash that part out.
Oh, okay. Gee, I thought I was talking direct here, man. I got to go through management now. Oh, forget it. I'll get negative 1% now. Gee whiz, absolutely. In that respect. All right, so put a plug in here for Danger One, ladies and gentlemen. Got to check it out. So.
Danger One comes out September 14th. Action, comedy, thriller. It's got all the elements. It's a chase film set in one night. Morality play. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. It's coming out September 14th here in LA at the AMC Universal City Walk Theater and nationwide and on VOD at the same time. I hope everybody gets a chance to see it.
All right, that's good. Danger One. Do we have enough time to play the trailer one more time? Yeah, let's play that. Let's toss that out one more time. So
all right.
we get that, really pump that out there. And it's a great place, Universal City Walk
it's
up
a beautiful venue. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Real safe, good family. And check it out. Danger One right now.
Homeboy somehow jammed $1 million in here.
Hey, we're almost there. Just let the hospital deal with it.
Let's just imagine for a moment. Let's say we don't turn it in, and we just keep it.
I'm not hearing this. I'm not hearing this.
You're not here, Custody team.
1 minute. You report that stuff the moment you walk through the door.
You got to tell me what happens right after that scene.
You got to go
No,
see
no,
the
no,
movie.
no, no, come on, come on. I'm gonna say, come on. What happens
You
right
got to
after
go
that
see
scene?
the movie.
Come on,
We'll
give
find out September 14th.
Come on, just a little bit. No, think I'm going to be able to convince
I
you?
just got one word: trouble. That's it. Trouble. Big trouble.
Oh boy, I guess so. I can just imagine the trouble he's going to be having. So we good on time, Lee? Okay, that's good. Absolutely. And in that respect. So what inspired you to get in this business? I mean, was it from a childhood on, or did it hit you when you were an adult?
You know what it was is that I grew up here, born and raised in LA.
Yeah.
My parents spent weekends taking me to the movies. I mean, it was a weekend tradition, and my parents really spent time talking to me about movies and informing me about them as well.
Are they from the industry in any
even though
aspect
they
of it?
weren't in the industry, but they they're just movie fans, and my dad was always just a huge fan of films, and he had a deep understanding of production, and we just really, really enjoyed.
What's the
going
first
to the
film
movies.
you can remember looking back as a kid that you saw?
I remember the first film
No,
that we saw.
not a cartoon.
Oh
but
no!
a
They took
first
me to real.
adult film.
They took me
Yeah.
to real movies. It was
Right.
called Midnight Run. Remember
Oh,
that movie?
yes,
With
yes.
Robert De Niro.
Oh, yes.
And, Charles Grodin.
Yeah.
Terrific film. I mean, I don't remember. I remember watching it. I don't remember understanding everything that took place in it because I was so young when
Right.
it came out. But I mean, I just was so alert and so engaged when I saw that film, and they always remind me that was the very first film that we saw. Whenever we
How old
rewatch
were you
it,
then?
under 5.
Oh boy, you were young.
Yeah. So it was just really
The first film I saw that I can actually remember as an adult film, I was 9 years old, and I saw Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid with Paul Newman and Robert Redford
that was a lot
and
of
Catherine
fun.
Ross.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and that scene in the town when they come back and he oh man, he had Robert Redford.
Right.
Has a gun pointed at Kathleen Ross and makes her strip.
Yeah.
And my mom looks at my dad, right? And my dad looks at my mom. This is a story I heard
Right.
later because she actually strips down. It's in shadow, but it's still there.
Right.
1969, right? And 9-year-old boy, 1969, my imagination is going crazy now, right? And so I was told later, my mom looks over at my dad. I'm sitting in between them both. And my dad looks at my mom. My mom goes, Right. And my dad goes, right. And I watched that movie. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. I didn't look at my mom and dad for a day.
Right.
I was
right.
just like, I don't want to look at them. I don't
Right.
want to look at anybody, right? That
Right,
was a
right.
great movie, but it was a fabulous scene
No,
and
it
a
was a terrific
great
film. It
movie.
was one of those movies that stay with you.
Yeah, it
You don't
stayed
forget.
with
It
me.
almost change
9 years
your,
old.
your perspective. Change your whole goals
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you want to do that stuff one day.
Yeah, I'd sure like to do it with
Yeah.
Catherine Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. No, absolutely. She was terrific, and they
Oh,
were
yeah.
terrific. And who are those guys?
Yeah.
Who are those guys? That was a classic
Oh
line.
yeah. No, I remember that movie.
yeah.
It's terrific. The Sting was another great movie they made
Another
together. Yeah.
great movie. The Sting, the first Sting.
Yeah.
The second Sting, I didn't like too much, but the first Sting
The
was
first
just
thing was still the
that
best.
was a great
that
movie.
Was inspired
The horse
so many
racings
films. The
and
horse
all that
racing
stuff,
and the
yeah.
last bit where you think they turn on each other, but they're in on it the whole time.
In on it the whole time. The
Awesome.
capers happening
Oh yeah,
all the way.
yeah, it's good stuff.
So, did you like sci-fi and space adventures, or did you like comedy?
More comedy and action stuff. That
Yeah.
was what I grew up watching a lot of the 80s, 90s action
So you
movies.
Jean-Claude Van
Right,
Damme,
the Van Dammes,
early
and the
Arnold,
Stallones,
Stallones,
all
right?
that kind of stuff. Like
I-
the new Predator coming out, like
Yeah.
the original Predator was one of my all-time
Oh, the
favorites.
original Predator was really good. I really
yeah.
never liked any of the Predators after that.
Right, but the first
The
one
first
was
one
classic.
he gets in the mud and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
See, that kind of stuff was really cool.
Good stuff.
I was at a party with Jean-Claude Van Damme recently, and we were talking and goofing around, and they were doing some other project, and so we were goofing around, and he was throwing a couple of his kicks, right,
Mm-hmm.
and just goofing around. So he throws a kick to me, and he kicks me right here, right here, and I went. He goes, "You all right?" I go, "No, man. What a pleasure! I got kicked by
Right,
Jean-Claude
right,
Van Damme.
absolutely.
Are you kidding me?
I want the footprint
Give
kind
it
of
to me,
forever
baby,
on
right?
me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, man, James Jurdy checking in right here with us, and September 14th.
September 14th, Angel One.
Angel One up at Universal Studios, Universal City Walk.
Right.
And typical start time is going to be playing all night long.
All right.
And Danger One, you got to check it out. And we're podcasting right now. And if you want to go back and check out the trailer, hit us back up on Instagram, YouTube, also Facebook, and of course www.thepowerofvoices.com, and on about 20 other sites we'll be posting up like we always do, folks. James, thanks a lot, man. This was a
thank
lot
you.
of fun.
This was so much fun.
This was cool,
I had
man.
a great time.
Yeah,
I can't wait to come back.
Man, I can't wait to go out there and see that film and,
I
and,
can't
and
wait.
then get
You-
your reaction right after it.
I'll be there.
Because you're either going to be going, "Oh, is it okay? Is it okay?" or you're going to go, "Yeah."
I'm hoping the second one.
It's going to be that one. Absolutely,
so.
man. All right.
Awesome,
Hey,
man.
Roger,
Thank
thanks a
you.
lot for bringing James in. Appreciate it. Roger Neal, one of the best PR guys in the town, man. Been around a long time. Great guy to hook up with him. Check him out. And, hey, we appreciate you always sharing and liking and getting the show out. It's the Jesse T Show. Yeah, that's right, baby. The Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya! Oh, yeah. Okay, who's buying the steaks and hot dogs?